From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. This is Dateline Malacañang. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Tuesday signed the Self-Reliant Defense Posture Revitalization Act in a ceremony at Malacañang Palace. Considered as one of the priority bills of the Marcos administration through the Legislative Executive Development Advisory Council, or LEDAC, the new law aims to ensure the country's adequate defense assets and hardware by establishing domestic production and manufacturing, as well as the development of a national defense industry. The new law also gives preference to Filipino-owned enterprises when it comes to the development, servicing, and operation of material in the country. These include military technology, arms and ammunition, combat training, weapon systems, armor, and other various military equipment and materials. Let us listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. during the event.
We lay today the foundation of resilience shaped by our own ingenuity, our own talent, and our unwavering resolve. With the signing of the Self-Reliant Defense Posture Revitalization Act, we are anchoring our defense strategy firmly in the strength of our own resources and capabilities. Our Constitution mandates that the state shall serve and protect its citizens and sovereignty, a duty that is not just reactive, but also in preparation for whatever challenges may lay ahead. For decades, our defense capabilities have relied upon what we could acquire from abroad. Every purchase, every negotiation, every partnership, although necessary, reminded us that our strength depended on the supply chains and the interest of other parties. The SRDP program, implemented under my father, former President Ferdinand Marcos Sr., set the stage for a more self-reliant defense strategy, urging us to tap into our own resources and capabilities. In the early years and in the 80s, the SRDP successfully met the basic material requirements of the armed forces of the Philippines, as we were able to manufacture ammunition, mobility equipment, tactical communication sets, produce vehicles from jeeps to boats, and supply the AFP's clothing requirements. Through this act, we can build on its legacy and expand upon that same vision, a defense posture that is independent, dynamic, and geared to the future. This law goes beyond the development of weapons or equipment, as it seeks to create a framework that makes us less dependent, more resilient, better prepared. It is a commitment to a long-term growth trajectory for a national defense industry that will support the defense requirements of our country. It's a logical move forward for a country that finds itself at the fulcrum of geopolitical shifts and volatilities. At its core, this act is about cultivating a robust and sustainable national defense industry. It establishes a structured approach to defense development, starting with research and production capabilities that align our defense sector with our strategic objectives. We will prioritize R&D to develop systems that meet our unique requirements, stay ahead of evolving threats, particularly asymmetrical threats that traditional systems may not be completely equipped to address. The strategy is clear. We start by strengthening the foundations, the research, the production capabilities, and institutional support. Then build upwards, layer by layer, until we have an industry that can stand strong and succeed on its own. By consolidating these efforts under one roof, we aim to ensure that every peso spent and every effort made directly contributes to our overarching goal of self-reliance. The National Defense Industry Development Plan will serve as our guiding document, detailing the principles and goals that will shape our defense sector for years to come. It prioritizes the production of critical defense materiel here at home, from small arms and tactical vehicles to more sophisticated systems. It is about understanding what we need and why we need it, ensuring that every component is purpose-driven and strategically designed. Turning this vision into reality necessitates collaboration across sectors. The government does not do this alone. This endeavor requires the best minds in defense, science and technology, and business, from both practitioners and researchers. By establishing a clear framework to guide public-private partnerships, we are saying to local innovative councils, invention societies, universities, and other learning institutions, it is our chance to contribute to something greater, to help us protect the sovereignty and security of our nation. We will support these efforts through various means, from research grants to infrastructure assistance, because building a national defense industry is as much about enabling as it is about producing. The challenges we face today go far beyond traditional conflicts, and the need to develop technologies that will counter unconventional threats is more crucial than ever. Cybersecurity breaches, chemical attacks, radiological threats. These are more than hypothetical risks, but pressing realities. With this act, we are broadening our perspective on defense. We are not just looking at tanks and rifles. We are building capacities that address these unconventional dangers head-on. This means developing systems and strategies that are reactive and predictive, allowing us to stay a step ahead of those who wish harm to the Philippines. To foster innovation and the development of advanced defense equipment and systems, this law introduces a comprehensive incentive scheme for those who will choose to invest in defense technology and production. These incentives range from tax breaks to government-backed financing. Recognizing the importance of safeguarding the fruits of these efforts, this law prohibits the sale of defense material to private entities. This guarantees that the weapons, the equipment, and technologies that we build will never be turned against the very people that they were designed to protect. At this juncture, I once again would like to acknowledge the hard work of our legislators. We thank you for your determination to ensure the timely passage of this important bill. Your support to align this law with the administration's defense strategy while promoting self-defense reliance is truly commendable. To the private sector, it is an invitation to build an enduring defense industry. To our esteemed research institutions, let your innovation shape our future and propel us towards self-reliance. To our armed forces, understand this. We pledge that the Filipino soldier will be bolstered by the ingenuity and the expertise of the Filipino innovator. So together, let us build a robust defense industry that enhances national security, strengthens defense capabilities, and reinforces economic growth. Let this law lead us to a truly self-reliant defense posture, one that reflects the spirit, the skill, and resilience of Filipino people.
You just heard Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Tuesday left the country to attend the 44th and 45th Association of Southeast Asian Nations or ASEAN Summit and related summits to be held in Vientiane, Lao People's Democratic Republic or PDR. In a pre-departure briefing in Malacañang on Friday, Department of Foreign Affairs or DFA Assistant Secretary Daniel Espiritu of the Office of Asian Affairs said the President will participate in 16 leaders-led engagements from the 9th to the 11th of October. Espiritu said the Chief Executive will continue to defend the Philippine sovereignty and sovereign rights and jurisdiction in accordance with international law. According to Espiritu, President Marcos will meet with members of the Filipino community on October 8th, soon after his arrival in Vientiane. The Philippine President may also have the opportunity to engage with leaders of Canada, New Zealand, Vietnam, and Japan in separate bilateral meetings. President Marcos will also attend several business meetings, including a meeting with TikTok executives. Let us listen to the departure speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
I depart today for Vientiane, Lao People's Democratic Republic, to attend the 44th and 45th ASEAN Summits and related summits at the invitation of the Prime Minister of Lao PDR, Sonaksay Sifandon. The annual ASEAN Summits are essential for the Philippines to discuss the issues confronting ASEAN countries on geopolitical matters and also on functional cooperation. In line with the theme of the ASEAN Chair this year on enhancing connectivity and resilience, the ASEAN leaders will explore how we can promote regional connectivity amongst ASEAN member states, as well as to strengthen our resilience to promote sustainable development and inclusive growth. I will also be participating in meetings with ASEAN's external partners. These engagements pave the way to advance cooperation in areas such as food and energy security, trade and investment, supply chain resilience, MSMEs, and addressing the impacts of climate change and more. We will also be discussing international issues that impact beyond the region, including the West Philippine Sea, the situation in Myanmar, conflict in Ukraine, in the Middle East as well, among other important regional and international issues. As we continue to grapple with sharpening regional tensions, including the recent dangerous incidents in the West Philippine Sea, I intend to champion our advocacies in promoting an open, inclusive, and rules-based international order, and for the peaceful resolution of any disputes in accordance with international law. This administration will continue to ensure that our constructive and deepening engagements with ASEAN, our dialogue partners, and stakeholders serve our national interest and the well-being of the Filipino people. As we speak, I think of our Filipino kababayan who are affected by the increasing tensions in the Middle East. I wish to reassure the public that the Philippine government is doing everything it can to ensure the safety of over 40,000 Filipino nationals in Lebanon and in Israel, and to bring them home so that they have a place that they can feel safe in, so long as they ask to come home. I am glad to report that no Filipino has been reported injured in the crisis that we hear about in the news, and to the waves of attacks against Hezbollah targets in the past few days and the consequent Iranian reprisal against Israel. Our embassies have been coordinating with the Filipino community on this matter and working on securing exit papers and transportation for those returning. Of the 1,500 initial applicants for repatriation from Lebanon, a third have already gone home, while another third, around 500, are still having their papers processed. The DFA will expedite this, and OWA will be chartering the flights to bring them home. For the month of October, the DMW and OWA will be bringing home at least 162 distressed OFWs from Israel. Once they return to the Philippines, the DMW and OWA are ready to provide assistance to them. Sa ating mga kababayan sa Lebanon at Israel, ang ating pamahalaan ay nakahanda sa pagtugon ng inyong pangangailangan. We hope that you will avail yourselves of our repatriation program while flights are available. In the meantime, heed the advisories of the Philippine Embassy and the Lebanese and Israeli governments. I expect the secretaries of the DFA and the DMW and the administrator of OWA to report to me with updates daily. The Philippines urges all parties to refrain from escalating the violence and to work towards a peaceful resolution of the conflict. We emphasize the need to adhere to international humanitarian law, especially the principles of proportionality and distinction in response to security threats, and to ensure the protection of civilians at all times. The Philippines will always stand for the principles of international law and the safety of Filipinos in the Philippines and overseas.
You just heard Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and visiting South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol on Monday graced the Philippines Republic of Korea Business Forum at the Manila Hotel. Organized by the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, or PCCI, and the Federation of Korean Industries, or FKI, together with the Department of Trade and Industry, or DTI, the forum provides an opportunity for the Philippines to inform the South Korean business sector on the administration's economic development plans and programs, investment opportunities, and other policy reforms accelerated to improve the country's business environment. Apart from the keynote messages of President Marcos Jr. and President Yoon Suk-yeol, the forum featured 3 sessions in a panel discussion with the theme Expanding Economic Cooperation between the Philippines and Korea. A Memoranda of Understanding, or MOU, was also presented by DTI Acting Secretary Maria Cristina Aldeguer Roque and Deputy Prime Minister Choi Sang-mok of the Republic of Korea. Let us listen to the keynote message of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Thank you to the Special Assistant to the President for Investment and Economic Affairs, Secretary Frederick Go. Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Korea, President Yoon Suk-yeol, Ambassador of the Republic of Korea to the Philippines, His Excellency Lee Sang-hwa, Agriculture Secretary Francis Chu Laurel, Trade and Industry Acting Secretary Maria Cristina Aldeguer Roque, Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry President Enunina Manjo, the Federation of Korea Industries Chairman Jin Roy Ryu, fellow workers in government, our partners in the private sector, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I shall attempt a greeting in Korean. Yorobun Annyeong Hashimnika. The Philippines-Korea Business Forum stands as a testament to a partnership that is as enduring as it is dynamic. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to His Excellency Yoon Suk-yeol for gracing us with his presence today. Your unwavering commitment to strengthening the bonds between our two nations is very inspiring. And so as we gather today, it is evident that our ties are built on shared values and a shared vision for a vibrant and prosperous economic partnership. The deep connection that we have built, one that spans not just trade and commerce, but culture and friendship, solidifies our alliance. I am sure with Korean restaurants sprouting out around the Philippines, Filipinos have at least once shared stories and have laughed over some kimchi, some samgyeopsal with friends and with family. And of course, the countless hours that we have spent binge watching our favorite Korean dramas and listening to K-pop. These highlight how the Filipinos love Koreans and your culture. Similarly, with over 1 million Koreans coming to visit the Philippines tourist attractions last year, I can see that many Koreans also love everything that is Filipino. As we celebrate 75 years of diplomatic relations, we stand on the cusp of an exciting new chapter where our continued collaboration will pave the way for more mutual prosperity and growth. Of course, I cannot overlook the remarkable efforts of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the Federation of Korean Industries for jointly organizing this forum with the support of the Department of Trade and Industry. Under the dynamic and inspiring leadership of PCCI President Enunina Manjo and FKI Chairman Jin Ryu, key stakeholders from both our countries were brought together to share their insights and embark on exciting new journeys of collaboration. Each of you, 12 Philippine and 12 Korean companies and organizations, bring a wealth of experience and expertise. Your presence symbolizes the cooperation that propels us towards a shared success. The business-to-business agreements that we've signed today, encompassing sectors such as infrastructure, public-private partnerships, energy, and affordable housing, are a clear indication of the enthusiasm and commitment of our private sectors. To our partners from Korea, you have shown that business is in your blood. Investing in the Philippines at this opportune time is a fine strategic move. In the first half of 2024, the Philippines experienced a remarkable growth of 6%. It solidifies the Philippines' position as one of the fastest growing economies in the region. Foreign direct investment also remains strong with net inflows of almost $9 billion last year. These achievements reflect our success in implementing business-friendly reforms. We are dismantling bureaucratic barriers, lowering the cost of doing business, and enhancing our global competitiveness. To our esteemed Korean partners, I want to assure you, the Philippine government stands ready to embrace your investments with open arms and with a continuing and unwavering support. We are continuously finding ways to make the Philippines a more conducive place to do business. We are accelerating policy reforms designed to improve the business environment here. The enactment of the PPP, or Public-Private Partnership Code of the Philippines, is a prime example of this initiative. It paves the way for transformative collaborations between government and the private sector that drive infrastructure development across our archipelago. Better roads, better bridges, and public facilities through private sector investments, connecting not only our islands, but more importantly, connecting our people. Furthermore, our enactment of the Internal Transactions Act provides a robust framework for a vibrant digital economy that meets the demands of the 21st century. This empowers our entrepreneurs and our consumers by regulating e-commerce, ensuring legitimate business transactions, and preventing fraud. We are also very proud of the Tatak Pinoy Act, which aims to bolster industry development and enhance the Philippines' integration into global value chains. This initiative guarantees that our local industries are flourishing on the international stage. When we support our homegrown businesses, we strengthen our economy and build a more resilient future for our communities. And we're not yet done. Congress is at the last stages of the legislative process to enact the corporate recovery and tax incentives for enterprises to maximize opportunities for reinvigorating the economy, or the Create More Act. Anchored on the Create Act of 2021, it will further strengthen our fiscal and non-fiscal incentives in strategic industries. Amongst its key improvements are the simplification of the approval process, streamlining of the value-added tax refund system, and the enhancement of tax incentives to align with global standards. Through key policy reforms and measures such as these, we aim to make the Philippines a top destination for sustainability and to be sustainable in our strategic investments. As we leverage our strategic location and engage in international agreements like the ASEAN-Korea Free Trade Agreement and the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, we are actively pursuing our regional economic integration agenda. The recently ratified Philippines-Korea Free Trade Agreement elevates our relations by reducing or eliminating tariffs on key products such as agricultural goods, electronics, and automotive components. This FTA prioritizes cooperation in sectors of mutual interest, such as electric vehicles, processing of critical minerals, pharmaceuticals, and creative industries. But beyond policies and numbers, what truly enriches our relationship is a vibrant tapestry of our people-to-people connections. This is the essence of true partnership, the ability to support one another as we ascend toward our shared goals, moving forward together with resolve, resilience, and the spirit of camaraderie. Let us strive to cultivate not only economic growth, but also a flourishing community where every Filipino and Korean feels the positive impact of our collaboration. Together, let history record that this was the moment when our two nations embarked upon a journey of unprecedented growth and prosperity. Thank you for your participation, for your passion, your commitment to this journey. I look forward to what we can achieve together in the years ahead.
You just heard the keynote message of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippines and South Korea on Monday sealed 6 new deals, including agreements on strengthening maritime cooperation and a feasibility study on the Bataan nuclear power plant rehabilitation, as the two countries agree to elevate their ties to a strategic partnership. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol witnessed the presentation of the newly signed deals in Malacañang. The new deals are Memorandum of Understanding or MOU between the Philippine Coast Guard or PCG and the Korea Coast Guard on maritime cooperation. An MOU on the Economic Innovation Partnership Program or EIPP. MOU for strategic cooperation on critical raw material supply chains. An MOU on the feasibility study of the Bataan nuclear power plant, a loan agreement on Samar Coastal Road 2 project, and MOU on the Laguna Lakeshore Road Network Project Phase 1 and the Panay-Guimaras Negros Island Bridges project, and the implementation program of the MOU between the Department of Tourism and the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism of the Republic of Korea for 2024 to 2029. Yoon embarked to Manila for a 2-day state visit upon the invitation of President Marcos. He is the first South Korean leader to visit the country since 2011.
Dateline Malacañang.
Underscoring the continued commitment to collaboration and cooperation in various areas, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and President Yoon Suk-yeol of the Republic of Korea on Monday raised a toast in honor of the 75 years of Philippines-South Korea relations during a state banquet at the Malacañang Palace. In his remarks, the Philippine president emphasized that over the past 75 years, Philippines-South Korea ties have developed comprehensively through various fields and levels of engagement in areas such as agriculture, maritime defense, economic development, and infrastructure, among others. Let us listen to the remarks of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. during the state banquet held at Malacañang Palace.
Your Excellency, President Yoon Suk-yeol, Madam Kim Keon-hye, esteemed ministers and officials of both the Philippines and the Republic of Korea, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my distinct honor to welcome His Excellency President Yoon Suk-yeol, Madam Kim Keon-hye, and the entire Korean delegation to the Philippines. It has been 13 years since the last visit by a Korean president to the Philippines, making this a very important occasion. Excellency, allow me to thank you for accepting our invitation to visit my beloved country. Thank you as well for the substantive and engaging discussions we had this morning and the harvest of agreements that will serve as an additional foundation for our strengthening cooperation in the years to come. As we look to the future of our bilateral partnership, today's meetings also bring to mind that in 1949, the Philippines was the 5th country to recognize the newly established Republic of Korea. Our bonds of friendship and solidarity were forged with the deployment of the Philippine Expeditionary Forces to Korea in September of 1950 to defend South Korea during the war. Since then, after undergoing rapid development under the past decades, the miracle on the Han River's current stature as a global cultural powerhouse was indeed hard-earned. Through the same period, our bilateral relations have reflected the same trajectory of strong and vibrant growth. For the past 75 years, our ties have developed comprehensively through various fields and various levels of engagement. We continue to stand side by side, proud of our shared history, committed to regional peace, and united by a common desire for a future marked by sustainable progress and stability in the Indo-Pacific. Excellency, you may recall that we expressed our eagerness to elevate our relations to a strategic partnership during our meeting on the sidelines of the ASEAN Summit in Indonesia last year. Today, we have finally achieved our common goal, as reflected in the joint statement on the declaration of the establishment of a strategic partnership. The Philippines is committed to sustain the positive trajectory of our strategic partnership with the Republic of Korea in all our engagements, and to actively cultivate collaboration in various areas of our cooperation. I would like to manifest our willingness to proactively work towards sustaining our cooperation and further deepening our unbreakable bond with the Republic of Korea. And so, before I close, I invite you all to join me in a toast to the good health of Your Excellency President Yoon and Madam Kim, to the prosperity and well-being of the Korean people, and to the enduring camaraderie and harmony between the Philippines and the Republic of Korea. Mabuhay and cheers.
You just heard the remarks of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. during the state banquet for President Yoon Suk-yeol of the Republic of Korea.
Dateline Malacañang.
President Yoon Suk-yeol of the Republic of Korea concluded his 2-day state visit to the Philippines on Monday, further strengthening the long-standing diplomatic and economic ties between the two nations as he departed from Villamor Air Base in Pasay City. During his visit, President Yoon paid tribute to the fallen heroes of the Korean War at the Libingan ng mga Bayani in Taguig City, where he led a wreath-laying ceremony at the Korean War Memorial Pylon. He also met with members of the South Korean community in the Philippines, reinforcing the strong bond between the two nations. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. held a bilateral meeting with President Yoon at Malacañang Palace, where they discussed expanding cooperation in trade, defense, and cultural exchange. Several agreements were signed to strengthen economic ties between the Philippines and South Korea. In a joint press conference, both leaders expressed optimism about the future of their partnership, highlighting shared goals and aspirations. President Yoon also attended the Philippines Republic of Korea Business Forum, which brought together key business leaders from both countries to explore new opportunities for trade and investment. The South Korean leaders' visit, marking the 75th anniversary of diplomatic relations between the Philippines and the Republic of Korea, emphasized the enduring friendship between the two nations and underscored their commitment to enhancing cooperation in economic development, security, and cultural exchange.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippines National Security Council, or NSC, condemned the harassment made by China to Vietnamese fishermen in Parcel Island in the South China Sea, which is within the territory of Vietnam. In an interview, NSC Assistant Director General Jonathan Malaya said, "The Philippines will not stay silent on the intimidation of China, not only in the country but also its neighbors in Southeast Asia." Malaya added that Chinese Coast Guard and the Chinese Maritime Militia have also done the same harassing incident in Philippine territory. The official said the Philippines is one and in support of Vietnam, especially since China has done this same harassment to Filipino fishermen and Philippine vessels at the Scarborough Shoal and at Bajo de Masinloc.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippines Department of Migrant Workers, or DMW, on Monday said a total of 151 overseas Filipino workers, or OFWs, in war-torn Lebanon are set to return to the country in the coming weeks. In a press briefing, Migrant Workers Secretary Hans Leukakdak said the agency is processing around 235 more documents of OFWs that are still within the offices of the Lebanese immigration authorities. Kakdak said President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s directives to them are clear, and that is to help and ensure the safety of OFWs in at least 4 affected areas in Israel, Lebanon, the West Bank, and Gaza, and to bring them home safe. The DMW Secretary said the group will be divided by batch and will be brought home via commercial flights from the 11th to the 28th of October. Currently, he said, around 2,000 OFWs in northern Israel have been evacuated by the Israeli Defense Forces, or IDF, and they are now on safer grounds. Secretary Kakdak said most of those who are currently in the shelter are just waiting to be repatriated. He, however, said that there are also several Filipinas married to Lebanese nationals with their families, including children, in the shelters. The DMW, together with the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration or OWA and the Department of Foreign Affairs or DFA, has so far repatriated around 430 out of Lebanon since October last year. Of the 430, he said, around 28 are dependents. In the West Bank, Kakdak said, there are around 21 OFWs who are all safe and accounted for. Meanwhile, he said that despite the situation, the DMW's Migrant Workers Office or MWO in the conflict areas remain open to assist OFWs.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news, Cavite Governor John Vic Remulla officially took over the helm of the Department of the Interior and Local Government or DILG. Presidential Communications Office or PCO Secretary Cesar Chavez said Remulla took his oath of office before President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Tuesday morning. Remulla replaced Interior Secretary Benher Abalos, who will run for senator in the 2025 midterm elections. He served as governor of Cavite since 2019, a position he also held from 2010 to 2016. Likewise, he served as the vice governor and as a member of the Cavite Provincial Board. John Vic's brother, Jesus Crispin, is the current secretary of the Department of Justice.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, the Philippines Department of Foreign Affairs or DFA on Tuesday said a Filipino national was executed in Saudi Arabia for the murder of a Saudi national on October 5th. DFA Undersecretary for Migration Eduardo Jose de Vega said there is no official notification from the Saudi government but confirmed that there was an execution. De Vega said they did all they could, including appeals, presidential letter of appeal, and even trying to get the victim's family to accept blood money. Undersecretary De Vega did not identify the Filipino, saying the DFA is withholding other details about the case out of deference to the wishes of the family. Meanwhile, Philippine Embassy in Riyadh, Chargé d'Affaires Romel Romato said, the Saudi government carried out the execution without prior notification to the embassy or the Filipino national's family in accordance with local procedures. The national was sentenced to kisas or retribution for the killing of a Saudi national stemming from a financial dispute. Romato reiterated that the Philippine government extended all possible assistance that it could, including legal representation and assistance throughout the proceedings. Romato said President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. also wrote a letter to Saudi King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud in an effort to save the Filipino's life. The Chargé d'Affaires added that the victim's family, however, has repeatedly declined opportunities to discuss blood money compensation. The Philippine Embassy in Riyadh is working to resolve 9 other death penalty cases in Saudi Arabia in coordination with the DFA and the Department of Migrant Workers.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service is heard over the following shortwave frequencies: 15.640 MHz, 17.820 MHz, and 12.010 MHz. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel at Radyo Pilipinas World Service. You will be able to hear and view our Filipino and English programs, including news updates here in the Philippines. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our post as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.